Good evening, and welcome to another edition of Indigenous Currents. African Americans ain't Africans, and here to just give you some information that you may not be aware of, though you should. That I don't know, I didn't know, nobody told me, those days are over. If you just look and pay attention to what's going on in the world. Now, I know a lot of people are scared, petrified. That's why nobody says anything. That's why everybody's running away from themselves. That's why everybody's running away from their homes. They've been scared out of them. And there's one thing that you and I both know is that we're all in line for death. We act like we don't even feel the energy running through our body, knowing that energy never dies. It just transforms, transmutes, goes somewhere else. But we always talking about these fictional characters that are supposed to come and save us and help us. They ain't came in your life. They ain't came in your mama's lifetime, your grandmama's lifetime, your great grandmama's lifetime. And it probably be another 5, 6, 7 generations before you even recognize that it's a sham. But as it may, go ahead and do your thing. We all gotta learn. Tonight, we're going to talk about a topic very important. And what I'm seeing, or what I'm seeing, is that many of us are not paying attention to what's going on around us. They don't see it. Let me give you an example. Just got off the phone with a person from the Caribbean. They just don't, I won't say the island, they just taxed them 15% across the board. Bam, whatever you paying, add 15% to it. The people can't even afford what they paying now. And now they just hit them with a 15% tax. I remember I was in the Caribbean on an island, and they said that they were independent, but the queen was on their money. And when I asked them to explain how they're independent when the queen is on their money, they do what the Negro normally does: come up with some lie and try to bullshit their way through. Them days are over, y'all. You can't do it no more. You're getting signs every day. You got to be able to read them. You have to know where to place your children in a certain place. You have to know where to place your family or have your family at a certain safe place. You can't rely on these grocery stores, can you? You can't rely on these gas stations, can you? Do we have alternate routes? Do we? See, when you ask questions, you normally supposed to get an answer. When you ask the African American, black, Negro, colored a question, you just get this deer in the headlight look. Because the majority, I won't say all, because a lot of you see this stuff, some better than I do. But we all know the vast majority of the people out there don't have a clue, don't even care. Try to work to the bottom of the barrel. The men are so scared, they want to be girls. I don't want to be a man, I want to be a woman. Didn't Francis Cress Welsing talk about that? When it get real tough, the men will see it, and the ones who want to lay down will lay down? Isn't that what you're seeing? Everybody knows what happens. So either you're with that or you're not. Here's a little hint. Life, because that's the phenomenon that you're living now. That's the reality what you're living now. Life trumps anything. When you have life in your hands and you abuse it, it's going to come back around and bite you in the ass. We should know that by now. No excuse. I don't care if you 5 years old. There's no excuse. And when things don't work, we act like it's cool to do the same thing over and over and over again. You're not at that point now. The point that you've been hearing everybody say over the years, something's coming. I hope you see it. Hope you're prepared for it. Because it's right on your doorstep right now. I'm waiting for Lisa to get in because she's going to share 5 things that the American Indian needs to do now. A year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. If we're going to survive. Remember, they just got a tax bill in the Caribbean. Every man, woman, and child, 15%. Look up the island of Anguilla. Look it up. Many people live here from there. You see, so I can't say what's going on in Anguilla. They can. That's their home. That's why they're over here. That's why most of the immigrants are coming over here to flood you out. That's what they're here for. That's why they pretend to be you. That's why African women sound more like your mama than her mama. Ain't that right? Ain't that right? Ain't everybody trying to be you? A fat butt 20 years ago, that was laughed at. Now everybody want one. Turning into your mama. Want your mama. Want that sister on that image. The reconciliation between Britannia and her daughter, America. Go pull that up and look at the woman who's the Indian woman on there and tell me who she looked like. If it's 200 people on there, all 200 people will say that woman looks like somebody they know. That's what all the women are coming over here trying to look like. Lips, everything. That you were denigrated for, now everybody's trying to do that. Because they're trying to replace you. We act like we don't see it. And walking right in the middle of it. And maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. We're just supposed to get pushed out of the way. Is that it? Because that's what it looks like. I mean, I'm not feeling it. I don't see it. I don't see how I can't go to Chad and act like the Chadians that's over here. I can't act like that in their home. I would find it rude. Since I'm what they say, when you're in Rome, do as the Romans. I would respect their culture and everything about them. The immigrants coming over here don't respect your ass at all. But we always catch you licking them in the mouth. Right? Ain't that what you do? People come from other countries to your home and disrespect you so embarrassing, they got you cheering. And don't pretend like you don't know, because I can call up a few of those when it's happened, and you know what I mean. So, staple singers, respect yourself. First thing, respect yourself. Everybody's paying attention. You see in the grocery store shelves starting to empty. You see it. I mean, it's not every item yet, but you're starting to see it. I think that's going to be a good thing, because one of the ways that we're getting off, we're sick. I passed by a dialysis place today, half a block. Every chair was filled with one of us. Why? Because we don't eat the food that your people produced. You don't eat the food that feeds the world. You eat what they make you eat or they sell you. You don't know the difference. As long as it tastes good. They're 3D printing food now, and we don't even recognize it. We don't know. You think all this food takes time to grow. Like you see people trying to eat watermelon now and getting sick as a dog. You're not supposed to eat watermelon now because watermelon is still growing. Isn't that the way it's done? And we think because somebody else want to do it another way, we jump on their bandwagon and do what they do. Totally disrespecting the people who set this whole thing in motion, which is your ancestors. Huh? Ex- explain? Explain? That's right, copper colored lifestyle. Eat with the season? Huh? Animals know better. Animals know better. But then when somebody call you a dumbass, you mad at them for recognizing you a dumbass. You act like it's cool to be dumb and teach the kids to do the same shit. This is the African American, right or wrong. Come on. Seedless grapes? Seriously? How are you going to replace the grapes that you eat if they're seedless? We don't even think of that. We don't even think of that. We're thinking about going to get a blunt wrap. Huh? Hey, check this out. This is what I mean. See, a lot of people don't like to think or nothing. They just like to be dumb, especially the Negro. Asked a brother once, I said, hey, how come brothers just don't get in the fall, pick up all the leaves that fall all over, get them when they're different colors, the yellows, the red, the oranges, the greens, every color, and make their own form of blunt paper or wraps? How come the Negro doesn't never think and do stuff like that? And the ones that do think of that stuff, people laugh at them. Oh, nigga, that ain't gonna work. Every excuse in the book. How come we don't do that? I mean, we're supposed to be the black man, the first man on the planet. We're melanin rich and can't think past the first grade. These are your scholars. These are the people that you worship that don't teach you a goddamn thing. Nothing. Go to your families, find out your family. Who are those people? Who are the people you come from? Who are the people that you sifted through to get here? Because we still living. We got our words have, and we don't even use it. Keep our mouth shut. If somebody's telling the truth, you a dog them and don't let boss come around. You Samuel on Django. So listen, I'm gonna call Lisa right now because she's having some problems. And listen, y'all, this is getting real serious because this is what I mean. We gotta have our own, we gotta start thinking of ourselves and live independent of all of this. Because all this computer stuff we linked, it don't work. It's not yours. You can't do what you want to do. It's always a guard at the door. And is that what we're going to pass down to our children? Is that what we're going to pass on? Sorry about that, y'all. Just had a little technical difficulty. But yeah, as a nation of people, seriously, that USC, UCLA stuff, stuff gonna have to stop. We get in these other people's ideologies and their what they create, and we're fighting against each other, and you have nothing to do with none of them. It's like that football stuff. In Alabama, they didn't let the governor of the state would come stand in the door so your mama couldn't go to school. Guess what her grandchildren does now? They cheer, put as much money as they can. Hey, here we go. Lisa Cypress, what's up, boo?
Hey, sorry it took me so long. Had a little block there, but I'm back.
Hey, okay.
Greetings to the chat, the best chat there is, the best chat in the universe. Thank you to you, the indigenous one.
Yeah,
You are the first critical thinking indigenous person in the world. Okay, so
hey, well, you won too.
I'm just following. Just following your lead. That's it.
No, hey, we working together, and that's what I'm saying. We all leaves on a tree, y'all.
Right.
Just because you got on purple toenail polish, I can't hate on that.
Yeah.
That
You
super
know.
stuff is something we got to get over. If the shit ain't leave it alone.
Right.
So yeah, we were just talking about all these things that are happening around the world. Here, a lot of us can recognize what's going on. I just share with the audience what's going on in the Caribbean, how they're treating them.
Yeah, we need to pay attention to how engaged everyone is with whatever we do. I mean, although, like, this is what's really crazy. Although you can watch television for hours and not see one of us, everything current that involves us is top news. Whether it's a YouTube person or a person that is wearing braids and and is not allowed to compete in a sport competition, or if it's a some kind of thing at school, anything that involves us is front page, right? But then they want to pretty much erase us from history when every current event is us. How can that be? Okay, so we have to pay attention to all these opinions, because they are very, 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 very vocal in their opinions about everything about us. Everything about us. Our mission is to be positive and truthful. Yes, yeah. Yeah, well, we have to have love, but we also have to be realistic. You know what I mean? I mean, we loved each other. We love people into the position that we loved each other down to the position that we're in now. So over loving is a kind of a problem. Being positive, that's what we need to be. We need to have, rather than loving, we need to love each other, because we love too many people, and we tolerate too friggin' much. I think we need to have a level of intolerance, to tell you the truth. The reality is, what's lacking in us is self-love and a daggone will for self-preservation. Being positive doesn't require that you love everybody, nor does it require that you are completely positive about every situation, because every situation ain't positive. Being honest, being real about things, that's important. Being compassionate, of course, but we also have to understand that it's our we got to turn everything inward, because ain't nobody rooting for us. We're not even rooting for us. This is an emergency situation. We have to start rooting for us over everybody, and we have to start fighting for ourselves. And we also have to be critical, because we're not critical when we should be critical. Love, love, love. Yeah, just be careful with that daggone word. Because a lot of people are we're overdoing it. We're overdoing it, and to our own detriment. I mean, I know I can speak for that, because the Ackermans was friendly, 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 to our detriment. One thing I must do going forward as an Ackerman is make sure we don't make the same mistakes. Understand, everybody don't have your same heart. They don't have your same spirit. They don't have your same good intention. They don't have your same ethics. And so you must treat them accordingly. They don't get your love. They may get your kindness. They may get your benevolence, but love, that's a different level. That's a different level, especially when you're talking about demonic creatures. You cannot love a demonic creature. I'm so sorry. This daggone earth right now is being run by demons, and Yah, or whoever you want to call it, needs to recognize that. And I mean, not Yah needs to Yah recognizes that, but anybody who's following whatever you're following, you need to recognize there's demons in the midst. These people there's nothing good about what's going on. Our world is being well, things are getting they're losing their grip, so that's a good thing. But the reality is, we have to be mindful of what people are. And the main thing I want to say about this is that we have to be discerning. Being discerning means everybody ain't gonna pass the muster, and everybody you ain't gonna kiss in the mouth, and you ain't gonna love up everybody, because you're discerning and you know what a wolf is, and you can recognize a wolf in sheep's clothing. That's what we must do. We must be able to recognize that. We cannot do the same thing. All these people are in here because we didn't recognize a wolf when the wolf came. We thought everybody had the same sense of confederacy, and the same sense of unity, and the same sense of justice, and the same sense of goodwill that we have. That's what we thought. We didn't know these people were straight savage, disgusting, bestiality, beastie people. Not even people, entities. We didn't know these things were entities. They look like humans, but they're entities. They don't have that conscience that we have. We have to be mindful of that. But at the same time, we also have to understand it's not even a look thing. It's not a black, white thing, a brown, yellow thing, because soul people are soul people. When you recognize a soul people, it's going to fill your heart with love. Because you know, I'm safe with you. I can feel that you're a soul person. I know you have the same sense of ethics that I have. I know that you're about doing what's right and righteous. Soul people can get that off of each other. Hey, Sister Rebel. Wonderful to have everybody here. Thank you. But yes, soul people, we recognize each other from the soul. And we cannot be generous with that title with everybody, which is when I'm being critical of somebody or something, it's because we need to be critical, y'all. We cannot let anybody come in without qualifying themselves. Are they friend or are they foe? Are you a soul human being? Are you a real soul person? Are you a person of the earth, of the land, or are you an entity from goodness knows where? Entities do not get to come into our inner circle. Entities do not belong. Entities feel uncomfortable. They're weird and they have counterproductive agendas. Does that make sense? I don't know. But anyway, that being the case, let me see.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But let me ask you a question. Do you think it's too late for that? Because many Negroes have just jumped into bed with everybody and really don't care. I mean, this is what I'm seeing. I'm sure it's not everybody, but from what I'm seeing and from what I'm hearing, even the program we had last night on the guy that was talking about the women so bad, he died in another woman or man's arms. So do you think, I mean, do you think that's past or what do you think about that?
I don't know. I mean, this is the thing. People were feeling like he did a lot for men and trying to be fit and take care of himself. I don't know. This is the thing. He wasn't very fit if he died like that. Well, who just dies having sex? So, was he taking Viagra? Was he taking some kind of herbal? Was he not work? Was his stuff not working? What really happened? I don't know. Did he take the vax? Did he have a clot? I don't know. I don't know. Was he using cocaine? I have no idea. But the thing is that it didn't extend his life.
No, I mean, I understand. I just think it was time.
No,
I don't
but
I
go
think
ahead.
I think, and this is what I'm seeing. If you no longer serve no purpose, get the hell out of here. So that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of that because you have to care about yourself. And if you're doing, if you're partaking in all this demonic stuff that we're, participating in just because somebody says it's okay, because that's the only way we do it. If boss say it's okay. So my question is, do you think that's too late when you say, we just can't love everybody, we can't allow everybody into our inner
Well,
circle?
that's right. It's not too late because if there's 50 good people, then we got 50 good people. You know what I mean?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
mean, I really don't care that the masses, fall off the edge at this point. You know what I mean?
Right.
What you have to do, our job right now is to get the people that count in our lives to have a level of understanding and reach out to everybody else within our kinships and our nations to have a level of understanding. And then the ones that are just some of them ain't just gonna get right because they just ain't smart enough to get right. And those people are to be protected. Those people, you just got to be able to take your wings and put them over them and just be able to bring them in when you're able to bring them in, because they're not really going to comprehend. you know but then I also want to say this: sometimes you think folks are kind of slow and they don't comprehend, but you'd be surprised, some of them people that's kind of slow comprehend better than the ones that are really well educated. They're the ones that have the hardest time coming around, right?
Right.
Those educated fools that all in the Pan-Africanism and all into this, all this into the fallacies they were taught. So they're the ones that usually have the worst way of coming around, and that's fine because they've received their reward. They've been rewarded for their obedience to this daggone, new world order. They've been rewarded for it. They've been receiving their accolades. They've got their houses on the beach. They have their mansions. They have whatever. They've been rewarded in various ways. Okay, so they don't need to come together with us, and they don't feel like they do, and that's fine because they don't. But this is really for the people. We're trying to protect the people who have an understanding, and those who don't have an understanding that need protection, and they deserve a come up, and they deserve to win. We're trying to help the people to win. And like I said, when you try to help the people to win, don't necessarily put a color on it, because the other thing I'm going to tell you about, I'm just going to mention real quick about colors, that sometimes people appear to be our color and they ain't. And sometimes people appear to be of the Caucasian persuasion and they ain't, because we swap complexions very easily, very, very easily. So you can't go by complexion. You got to go by that blood connection. And you also got to go by that. More importantly, you got to go by that soul connection, because that's more important that's the most important thing. Because these souls, we got a lot of tarnished, messed up souls out there. But the pure souls that are connected to Turtle Island, those are the ones that we really care about. And if it's only 50, if it's only 100, if it's only a small number, we don't care how small the number is. It doesn't really matter, does it? Because the reality is the most important thing is that we can come together and help each other, to win what we're righteously deserve to win, and to have our inheritance returned to us. That's the most important thing. And the numbers are inconsequential, really.
So what are the 5 things American Indians, should be doing now?
Am I sharing my screen? Let me see. How do I do that? You're in the
Yeah, you're
show.
there.
Okay, so I'm gonna. Where is it? Okay. Oh, sorry. All right. 5 things that we need to do. 5 things American Indians need to do now. Okay. First of all, we need to protect and educate our children. And that children means anyone. That means your children, your grandchildren. Your children could be in their 30s. Your children could be in their 40s. Whoever your children and grandchildren are, we need to protect and educate them. It is imperative that we start educating them. First of all, we need to let them know about this world. Because I'm telling you, even people who are of the LGBT, whatever, QISV, whatever, the alphabet people, even they know that this agenda is really gone far, furiously, fast, and further than any of them have ever anticipated, and they don't understand it. In all honesty, this is a pan-genderism, pansexualism, triple X agenda, and we need to fight it. The first frontier to fight it is within our children, our babies. We have to protect them. And we need to police what they're watching. Now, if they're grandchildren, you can't police it because, these children of yours and mine, they're doing their own thing. They are so-called adults and they're the parents. So, you all you can do is infuse your influence. All you can do is provide your insight, is to also supplement by buying books that provide information about culture, by also educating them about their history and their genealogy, showing them pictures of their family, telling them stories about their family, informing them about our culture, letting them know we wasn't a bunch of hoes. You don't come from that. Even if your parents made mistakes, you don't come from that. Your roots go deep and long and far, and they come from a people who have pride and have standards, and people who are ethical and loving, caring, and fair. That's what they need to know. And honest. We need to teach these children our traditional ethics and to respect one another, respecting one another. See, this is the other thing we need to teach our young people. Somehow, the African American has come to believe that once our kids can dress themselves, get themselves up, go to school, pretty much past kindergarten, then your job's done. I mean, you can go to any indigenous area and go to the schools, and before kindergarten, everybody's at the graduation. All the kids are excelling in first grade, and then there's a drop off, a major drop off. Everybody that was excelling in first and second grade, all of a sudden don't nobody know nothing in third grade, and it just continues to plummet because we act like they're independent. They don't need a whole lot of guidance. They can dress themselves, get to school, protect themselves. So we go on to other things. I'm dating, I'm wearing this. I don't know what you're doing, buying stuff, working extra. I don't know. But whatever we are doing, we need to make the message clear out there that the focus needs to get stronger after second grade, not less. Second grade to graduation from high school, you need to be on their asses and you need to be focused on them. Your job just begins at second grade. That's the message that we need to be putting out to our people, because this is when the world takes over and we lose them. That's why we got kids shooting up people at roller rinks. What 11-year-old got shot in daggone South DeKalb at front of the daggone Golden Glide by a 13-year-old. How is that okay? Why does a 13-year-old have a gun? Where did he get the gun? Why isn't he taught to respect the gun? Why is he taught to respect, most importantly, life? Our children play at murdering on video games, and they don't have a sense of respect for life. And how do you expect them to respect their bodies and their sexuality and their privacy and their body parts, and to keep their bodies sacred, and to have a value for themselves as women, as the gatekeepers, and have value for themselves as men, as the protectors, if we don't teach them? How are they supposed to know this? They're not going to know it if we're not showing them. I think a lot of us just take it for granted that if we live a decent life and we're not exposing them to straight junk pornography and daggone blaspheming and cursing in front of them. I don't know what y'all think, but these kids are intelligent. They're highly intelligent. You need to have life giving, shaping discussions with these babies. They need to know the kind of men they need to become, that from the time they're 3. I was having a discussion with Carrie about my grand. I said he's 3. That reflects what he's going to be at 13. I get into a panic about my grandchildren like it's freaking whatever because I know I want them to be wonderful. And they are wonderful, but I want them to be everything they can be. And with that, I want them to understand that being a man, which this 3-year-old is a man. We have to already treat these children not see the world wants to sexualize these children into men and women, but we need to treat them mentally and ethically as the men and women they're going to be and create these expectations of the grand selves that we want to see them become, to be caring, to be respectful, to be people that keep their word and follow up with what they're supposed to do and who do the right things. And they know the right things. They know about managing their money. We should be teaching that. Managing their daggone, managing, keeping themselves, keeping a house. They should learn to sew. Men and females should learn to sew, cook, clean, fix, build, repair, construct, garden, fish, can, trade. We all should be able to do things so we can construct our lives from ourselves. Nobody can take anything from us. We should learn to be comfortable in nature. So if you got to run to the country, you good. You should already be there. Comfortable with animals. It is very important that we actually become the people that come into schools and educate the young. If you don't have no young people, if you're retired, if you're semi-retired, you should be in these schools. If you need information to share with them in formats, I got cartoons, I got daggone flip books that I can reproduce and send to you so you can educate your family or you can educate your young because we need to get on this. And if I need to mass produce them, I will. I mean, we need to get this done.
When you talk to a lot of the grandmothers and great grandmothers, they'll tell you, you know, um, there's people in your family, and I'm sure many of you know that there are people in your family where grandmothers and great grandmothers had 12, 13, 14, 16, up to 20 kids. And so this is how, so, when you're looking at this whole history thing, you have to look at what happened so we can go ahead and correct it. And when you see all these women that had babies, when you ask them, well, why did you have so many babies? They all tell you because we needed the hands. We needed hands because you're on a land, you're building something. You're just not sitting around watching TV and all this other dumb shit that we do today. You're doing something, you're building something, you're creating something, you're building something for 7 generations down the road. It's the hands. When we got off the land and started moving into these cities, we started having less kids. That was the first breakdown right there. The second breakdown, remember, you were living on land. You were living on things that parks are on now. This is where you live. Now you move into a little yards. Then what do you do after that? After that, you move out of where you lived or where you were raised or where your people are from, and you move to these cities. Now you're not into a yard, you're in an apartment. Your environment shrinks and shrinks and shrinks and shrinks all the time. All that shrinking, your mind does the same thing. These are things we're going to have to recognize because that system is starting up again. And if you don't see it, you better open your eyes. So Lisa, aside from protecting and educating the children is the utmost. Are there some other things we should be doing? We should be paying attention to?
Within our own family. Some of us don't have kids, but I think that's the time you can become a mother or a father to children. We need to be starting programs where we are helping the youth. Scout programs or youth programs, after school programs. We need to start them. Those are 501(c)s we could be doing. So I mean, this is part of we need to start building an education in our own way for our children, their true history, along with the values that are our true values, need to be starting pronto. Need to be starting pronto. We need to be protecting our own and educating our own. And if you can't do that, then you need to be deeply involved with with going into these daggone schools and reaching out to those kids who aren't being educated and aren't being protected by their own, because that's our own out there. Those are still our own. And those are our future leaders. Those are the future protectors of the land and the future protectors of the people. In addition to that, we need to be looking out for our food and water, because we don't need to be, we need to decrease our panic. We should never fear. We should prepare. You know, you need to know where water is nearby, because, yeah, you could stockpile barrels and barrels of water. Yeah, that's all good and well. I don't know if you're gonna be able to. What if they burn your house down? That's not gonna do you any good, I guess, huh? But you got to learn to filter and sterilize water. You should learn. That's a basic thing that you can do. You can boil it. You can create charcoal. You just burn wood good and burn it, and it'll be that you got some charcoal, and that's a great filter. It's very easy to just make water safe. Berkey is a very expensive method. There are some inexpensive versions of Berkeys, but that's one of the best, water filtering, gravity-based filter systems, where even if the power's off, your Berkey will work. Okay, I'm just saying that because there may be some people that are interested. There are filter straws for individual drinking, like if you had to drink out of a pond, filter straws can be used. Of course, somebody mentioned earlier container gardening. Anybody can container garden. You can use a tray, a bucket, a daggone, anything, a garbage can. Anything can become a container garden. Shoot, you could use an old pair of jeans for a container garden. Literally, you can take the legs of your jeans, and that is a wonderful container garden because it breathes. The jeans breathe, and so, because you want the soil to be able to breathe. A lot of these buckets and stuff don't have good aeration. Okay, but something like that is great. And in addition, forage. There's food all around you. Like the other day when I was looking across to my neighbor's house, and those deer were just having a party in her backyard. Well, if the deers are eating it, there you go. So I mean, really, you need to pay attention to nature. Start studying the wildlife around you. If you don't have an app for looking at wildlife, because there are apps that can identify different plants, there's an app for that. But everything goes down, your app won't work. So that's why I have in there, if you don't have time to learn it now, buy the books. You can collect the books, and we know as long as they don't go on fire, your books are going to be good. And you can always refer to a book, okay, to learn how to forage, to learn how to hunt or fish if you don't haven't learned, to learn how to dry fruit, dry turkey, or can goods, right? Because you can can meat, you can can vegetables, you can can fruit, you know, you can dry all these things. So, you know, if you don't have time to practice, at least have it in a book. Like I said, if you don't have water jugs are fine. Like I said, if you want to stash away. I just think that the more you feel comfortable with how you are able to survive, whether you are, I don't necessarily believe in stockpiling things. Like I don't necessarily believe it, but I believe that you should be comfortable and making do with whatever you have, because push come to shove, let's say you're not at home when something happens where you have to be able to do for yourselves, then your stockpile is there, but you ain't at your stockpile. So you need to be comfortable with being resourceful, right? You need to be comfortable being resourceful, because let me tell you something. If anything happens to us, it's going to be man-made. It's going to be man-created. But if they know that we're resourceful, it's not something they're going to actually try to push, because it ain't going to drive us into panic. It's not going to drive us into fear and desperation, you see. If they know all the indigenous folk are prepared, well, what's the point, right? If we're all ready, if we know how to defend ourselves and we know how to care for ourselves, what is the point? You know, if they, and if you're active in this, like, for myself, I have a trailer in the woods and it really feels good and it's fine. But you also have to understand how things work, mechanisms, generators, wood, solar panel, solar. The point of solar, if nobody's ever worked with solar, is that it's not just solar panels. The solar panels are the least of everything. The main thing with solar is that you have to have batteries. You have to have enough batteries to hold enough energy to actually be able to invert it and use it later. That's the bad thing about solar. Because if you actually think about solar, if the best batteries for solar are lithium batteries, you're still using indigenous people in Africa, children, to obtain energy. It's worse than electricity, if you look at it that way. I'm just saying. But there are other things. There's gas generators, there's wood, there's solar, there's propane, a little bit of everything, right? Hens, you can raise hens, you can raise turkeys, you can raise ducks, you can raise turtles. A large portion of the Accomack diet was turtles, according to excavations that they found. A lot of turtles. And many of us who have tried turtle do like turtles. Yeah.
Though there's a lot of food stuff on America that we don't even we are calling nasty.
Right. Squirrel.
Yeah.
How about there's lots of squirrels?
Rabbits.
Rabbit, squirrels. There's raccoon and
Quail.
possum. Quails are tiny, but yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of food that we have gotten away from eating, and we need to also realize that mushrooms, wild mushrooms, and insects. Scrub. Snails and things like that.
And it's much better than the food that they're serving up now, because if you look closely at what they're serving up now, it's not food. It's not what your grandmother and grandfather, great grandmother and grandfather grew. It's nothing they prepared. You don't know where this stuff is coming from, and you can tell by the health of the people.
Yeah, the reality is that a lot of this stuff is not even food that we are eating, and that it's and they put addictive things into the food that we're eating that keeps us interested in in these types of foods. They keep us addicted, and that's a problem. You it's a terrible thing, and we're building. Good thing these kids are super kids, because you can give them, like I said, these babies be growing off of hot Cheetos and they just come out excellent. You know what I mean? It amazes me how you can raise a baby on, a mellow yellow and hot Cheetos, or Mountain Dew and hot Cheetos, and they come out excellent. I don't understand. But that just shows you these little super beings that they are.
Yes.
They were catching rabbits for food in the community center.
No, she was saying the Jewish community around her, they were out catching rabbits, but it goes against their teachings or whatever they teach. But they know something. So this is what I'm saying. You're telling everybody to pay attention.
Right.
What's going on different? And why are
So
these?
that's interesting. Yeah. Rabbits. Okay. So
Yeah,
I mean, yeah. I mean, let's start doing things. We need to understand that, these are not only methods of, doing for ourselves, but these are also streams of money. These are money makers, being able to be a resource, But we our barter system, we have that in our community. Some things never change. Like we have our own economy within our neighborhoods. Like you don't, certain people go to Midas and get a muffler. We go to the auto zone, and the brothers outside will put in a muffler for us, for a few dollars. That's the thing. I mean, we have our own forms of economy. So we have our mechanisms of survival. And so that's what you need to make sure you're plugged into your alternate mechanisms for survival. Now, people say to me, well, you have chickens. What do your neighbors say about you having a chicken and a rooster and all that, and ducks? And well, I'm pretty sure that they probably are thinking, well, push come to shove, it's good to know that somebody got some chickens and some damn eggs. I think at this time, most people are thinking in terms of those things, like who has stuff. You want to be on, you want somebody probably to have those resources. It's important for people to have those resources because you have to understand the food that we're eating is of no substance. When you have your own animals, you can feed your animals the right things. They can eat the plants life. They can eat, spinach. They can eat corn. They can eat berries. They can eat nut, whatever. They can eat corn. You can feed them the quality things that are going to make them quality meat. They can feed them quality things that are going to make their eggs quality, and that is the value of raising your own animals. Everybody can't raise their own animals, but like if you can, please do. And if you can't, you understand you got family members who can. So what I would recommend to you also is that if you got a cousin that lives in the country, send them some eggs so they can raise some chickens, or send them some baby chicks, or send them a daggone baby some turtles or some damn rabbits. Send them something because they got the land that they could put it on. They might not mind. They might not have the money actually even to even get the animals, but they got the land and they got the countryside. So we need to be cooperative within our own families, within our own friendships and kinships. And if you got folks that are in the country, they got the land, you got the money, use your money to actually sow into them and create a place of resources for the entire family. Beehives. Start putting up beehives. Beehives are so beneficial. Do you know that beehives, the sound the bees make, has been known to be healing? Just the sound of bees? Do you know that they have special places in Europe where people can go to just inhale the beehive, the air from the beehive? Do you know there are places in Europe where you can get stung by bees and it's curative and all this kind of stuff? Do you understand? People get beehive stinging therapy. Not to mention the fact of what the honey can do for your allergies and for healing cuts. That's what we use on burns in the hospital now. Do you know that if you go and get really badly burnt by oil, do not run water over it. Grab honey immediately as soon as your skin is burnt, and that honey will take away the burn literally. Literally. If you just immediately don't even run water, don't do that. Don't do it immediately. I've had people burn themselves with hot tea at work. I grabbed a honey pack, not even good quality honey, from the cafeteria, squeeze it over that person's daggone burn on their arm, and they said, "Oh my God, the burn is going away." It stops the burn in action. We have to get back to our nature, and we have to get back to basics, and we have to start sharing things that are valuable, and stop keeping secrets from each other, and stop bullshitting each other with dumb daggone things to think about, and things that don't make no sense, and things that nobody can actually really accomplish, and organizations that aren't going to give you any freedom. Because let me tell you something, when you organize yourselves in the right way, it makes a difference. We'll get to that next. Money and resources. The real reason I started this whole thing was that for some reason, like I said yesterday, all my close people, all the people that I hold dear in my heart were calling me. And so cousins and friends and stuff was calling me. And my cousin, my oldest, my one of my elder cousins called me and she was like, look, she's an executive in IT and baking, right? And she was like, they're telling us to take our money out the bank and put it in a safe in our houses. I said, they're doing what? She said, yeah, they're telling us and they're telling us employees, us, in this business to take our money, not all of it, but take them as much, a good amount for your own benefit. Because she said one hack and you have nothing. Are you sharing the screen? I don't see my screen.
Yes.
It is. I don't see it. It's not showing up on my thing. Oh, maybe I'm behind the show.
You said the one with
Oh,
money.
I'm behind in the show. Sorry, that's why. Okay. Yeah, so there he is. One hack and you have no funds, right? You don't have nothing. So that's why that's what she said. And so when I heard that, I immediately called Carrie and I said, Carrie, I think we need to do like 5 things that, we need to know now, because if they're telling her that and she works in IT, she's a high level executive. She works amongst all these other, races, and she's one of the few only probably people that's indigenous people there. So, we need to let the people know that this is something that you might, could want to uh you know uh, take action on in your life. Put aside funds, get gold, get silver, put some away in a safe, whatever. But also, what I want to tell you about that, you're welcome, Alberta. What I want to also tell you about is that you all need to also keep in mind to reach out to in your community for like the networking. Like, you should talk to your neighbor about, what do you got? I got eggs, I have a few eggs, I got a couple of chickens. What do you got? What do you know how to do? You need to barter, like verbally barter now. Like, try to get together with who in your network, who in your circle can do what. My daughter has a big garden. She's growing, other daughter, myself, which, who's growing what, who has what, who is doing what things, you know, where can you pull your resources together, that sort of thing. Who knows how to fish, who knows how to hunt, who knows how to forage, bartering skills. Who knows how to repair things? Who knows how to drill for water? Who has the equipment to do certain things? That kind of thing. You might need to make some verbal bargains for bartering in the future. Have your resources. Know who your resources are. Understand what the skill sets are. Who's able to sew? That kind of thing. Who's able to repair? Right.
Here's another resource too. If you go to the national parks, and almost every state has them,
Yeah.
there's always water in there. You can always get fresh water in there
Right.
in the
Well,
national.
you got, yeah, that's right. Oh, that's very good. That's a very good point. Fresh water in the parks and stuff. That's very good. And also understand that you don't have to use bamboo because, ever or palm, may not be in your area, but you understand that clay is. A lot of us especially have clay, and you can make pottery. You can make a plate or a mug very easily with clay that's just in Georgia or Virginia or, North Carolina. These clays that are the best clay near water banks or creeks and stuff like that. That's the best quality that you could actually make a easily just make yourself a little cup and sit it in a fire, and that's how you cure it. That's how you, like, it's like a kiln. You make your own kiln, and you can actually, harden it and treat it like that. But we can make our own little copper containers. But the reality is we have stuff. Right now you have stuff, right? You have hopefully some cast iron pots. You have hopefully have some good, pottery, bowls or what have you, and just things that you can work, wooden utensils, whatever. Um, or bamboo, you can collect palm, you can collect whatever, but the things that are going to be important for you to have available or to make a part of your life. Copper is very important. Copper containers, they are very good to drink water out of copper containers. It's anti-infective, it's also anti fungal. Copper is a wonderful vessel to use to drink out of, and to use for cooking, because when you use copper vessels and iron vessels, you get the iron from that vessel. It puts it in the food, and it puts the copper into the food, and you need that. So keep that in mind when you choose your vessels, to make sure if you don't overlook having a good copper or a good iron container. Okay.
And another thing to remember too, remember
Hmm.
probably 75% of the junk we buy, we don't even use.
Right.
Walk into
Right.
the average person's bathroom, and all that crap on the shelf is stuff that's not used. And this is what we use our energy to procure.
Right, we sure do. And that is an excellent point. You are so right about that.
And so, I think we should just look at it. There's not a whole, there's not a lot of stuff we need that is life sustaining or life
Nope.
affirming. All that
Mm-mm.
stuff that's not those things, get rid of that shit.
Coconut oil, cocoa oil, cocoa butter. These things that we have always had and always used are some of the best things that we could ever use. It was so funny because I was always disturbed because my daughter was like a crazy accumulator of things. Like if she saw a bath gel or something that she liked and she saw it on sale, she'd buy 8 of them, and it makes me crazy because of the clutter. Well, she got an app that actually looks at anything you can put on, you can flash on it, and it will tell you its ingredients, its poisonous, toxic ingredients, and it gives it a score. And so she started using this app on the stuff she had in her bathroom and in her stockpiles. And she was like, I got to throw all this stuff out. All this stuff is toxic. And I was like, well, thank goodness. Finally. But I mean, most of the stuff that we buy to smell, I mean, I don't understand. Y'all know one thing is, I don't know if you've heard me say this, but one pet peeve of mine is, why do y'all buy those air fragrance things all over the damn house? Why do you do that? It's disgusting. Why are you making artificial smells? Oh my God. Why are you buying artificial smells for your house?
And those smells, and this is important, and I'm finding this out now firsthand. All those other artificial colors, artificial smells, artificial taste, those do major damage to the body, especially those artificial smells, because we don't think of ourselves as eating those, but you're
Right.
smelling them,
Right.
you're inhaling them, and they tearing you apart.
And indigenous people are the main ones to want to buy some Febreze or some damn, and they think that that makes their house super great. No, that makes you super toxic, and you wonder why you got aching bones, and you got, you can't breathe, and you got daggone, skin infections and all kind skin daggone rashes and stuff like that, and baby's eyes are itching. You think it's a daggone pollen, but it's probably your toxic house that's making you sick.
Everything is artificial, y'all. See, the food. Lisa, could you? I mean, I know you said this just last night.
Right.
Repeat it again about the 3D printing of the food.
Right. Oh yeah. This food, most of this food that you eat is not even real. Like I was telling him, because I stayed in a hotel over the weekend, and I was like, I went downstairs to get coffee and breakfast, and I saw that they had oatmeal and bacon. And I was like getting myself some oatmeal, and then I looked at the bacon, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have, and I looked at it, and I was like, this ain't no bacon. The bacon was paper thin. And not only, you know how bacon is made, you got the fat and then you got the meat, and that's a bacon. But it was paper thin, like you could see through it, like the thinnest paper. And the fat was thinner than paper. How can you make fat thinner than paper and it doesn't disintegrate? Fat that's thinner than paper is gonna melt into oil. So they're actually 3D printing bacon and selling and giving that to people in these daggone hotels. No wonder they're giving out you a free breakfast. They're giving you out 3D printed God knows what paper.
And that's everywhere. And see, and a lot of us, all we want to do is eat. Well, check the food, check the drinks that they serve you. Look at the bottom of these bottles.
Right.
All that stuff at the you got to pay attention to this and teach your children that, because like Lisa said earlier, when you teach kids, when they know they're learning something at a younger age, they're gonna go out of their way to learn more. So
Right.
so teach the children what they're growing up into and what to look out for. 2 3 years they'll blow you out the water because they
And there's no reason why you can't teach your grandchildren, even if their parents are giving them whatever, that hey, this is what it is. Because your grandchildren, they they're these kids are coming out the womb knowing stuff. Okay, so I mean, it's never too early for you to start giving them a choice and their options. You can. I'm not trying to be terrible and undermine your damn children, but I am actually. You need to undermine your children sometimes with your grandchildren, because these kids are smart enough to make a choice. And if you tell them, look, honey, these nuggets that you're eating, that's not food. This is something that's not good for you at all. It's terrible for you. You know what I mean? Let them be informed, because they're getting addicted to things that they're not going to be able to get off of. But if you can kind of undermine it now, you might be able to save these children from an addiction to these non-foods. Because they even did a report about they're going Chick-fil-A. Now I knew when I had my children ordered Chick-fil-A this weekend, when I went to go eat a cold nugget from one of them grandchildren, because I didn't even get to eat mine, and I went to go taste one of theirs. I said, "This is hard. This is horrible." If it turns into something petrified, okay, if it petrifies before like if it becomes inedible, like that's why I stopped eating what is it called, Zaxby's, because I had it cold. I brought it to work or something, and it got cold. And I tried to eat that stuff. It was inedible. Okay, I was like, that's not food, because when I fry chicken and I have it, it's good the next day or the next day. But when you can't go a few hours and that stuff becomes something you can't eat, you must understand that is not food. If you can't eat it after it cools off, it's not food, y'all. And I never had cold Chick-fil-A before, but that stuff ain't food. It's good as long as you eat it right away. But it becomes something you can't eat if it cools off. We got to be careful of that. But like I said, I think we all should feel very free with trying to guide at least our grandchildren to making better selections. I mean, if we can, because they have a whole life to live. We got to do the best to make sure that they're okay with it. I don't know. I mean, yeah. I
no
mean, yes, it might not work, but you know what? It might work with your grandchild. Your grandchild might be like, "What? Oh, I don't want any more nuggets. That's whatever. Grandma said that's not food. You know what I mean? I mean, hey, whatever. We gotta protect.
and
And wouldn't it be great if they started getting more into their carrots and some beets or some daggone fruit with seeds in it. That would be great.
and who doesn't listen to grandmama?
Well, let's just keep that power that we have going and use it for the good. Use it for the good.
Yes, ma'am.
So, and working about and talking about, like a lot of people said, like, okay, Oh yeah, you talk about the vegetables. They talk about how bad the quality of vegetables are at Walmart and the fruit and all that. So we got to be careful. Like you also got to also understand. You know, a lot of people think they being vegan and they all healthy, but I have never smelled anything more putrid than when vegetables go bad and you get them from some of these stores. It smells worse than the damn meat. I have had that happen numerous times where I'm thinking, what has gone bad in the refrigerator? And you're looking, it's a damn vegetable. It's not even meat. It's a vegetable. Vegetables were not toxic smelling and didn't smell like an animal died before. Why do they smell like an animal has died?
You know, it reminds me of when I was in LA. I would always meet this brother for coffee because he would always come to the store was called Food for Less in LA. It's just where they sell the most shittiest food ever.
Like Piggly Wiggly.
Yeah, horrible food. And this
Mhm.
brother would come every week because he used to live in the neighborhood and the meat used to be rotten when he lived there. So he moved away like out to the valley about 15 years ago. So every time he goes home, he passes by the store and goes and clean off the meat aisle, get all the meat out and take and let he said they don't change it. They just give you I'm gonna take this to the counter. They're gonna bring it back and stock it up because they
Right.
know that you just eat it. You don't smell it. You just throw it in the freezer and cook it.
Right.
And this was 10 years ago.
Right.
You know, so the food, yeah, like you saying, everybody doesn't do it. You can have two or three people on the block that grow chickens. You can have two or three people on the block that might grow figs. You might have
Right.
two or three people on the block. Somebody can grow tomatoes. Somebody can grow corn. But get the community together. You assemble your community. Everybody can do something. There's enough.
Somebody can dig a pond and put turtles in it or put daggone trout in it. I mean, it doesn't take a lot. We spend money on dumb shit. We buy dumb pets that are cute but can't do shit for us but eat daggone dog food. But what if we had daggone a pond in the back with trout in it? Or what if we had daggone turtles in it or some frogs or something that people could eat frog legs and shit like that? I'm just saying. What if we had bunnies that people could, if it come to it, we got a source of meat. You know what I'm saying? We can do things that make sense and actually can benefit us, push come to shove, instead of spending our money on things that cannot help us.
And
And it's
man,
going to be something else that we have to look out for.
and when you do it together, it's way easier.
Exactly.
If everybody's doing that, because this is survival, y'all.
Right.
You have to ask yourself, one of these days, we don't do this now, but we're gonna have to ask ourselves, what's going on in all these other people's country where they have to leave the birth of their mothers to come to yours?
What is that fish, Benny Young? Okay, catfish. First of all, I don't like catfish because they just eat poop. Of course, a lot of all the shellfish do that too. So I mean, it's all in what you do. But I'm just saying, I don't trust the tilapia. I never have because growing up, my mama didn't make no tilapia. I didn't hear about no tilapia since until I moved to Dagon, Decatur, and went to the restaurants, and that's all they serve and then to the daggone indigenous people. It's tilapia. I'm like, where's the whiting? Where's the croaker? Where's the daggone, where's the flounder? Where's the other stuff that, we're used to eating? Where's the haddock? I don't know. Where's the stuff I'm used to seeing? I don't recognize this stuff. Okay. I don't know what a tilapia is. I don't, I don't trust what is that? Was that in a lab? Did they make those fish in a lab? Now I know they actually do exist, or at least I think they do, because I go to the European, to the Asian farmers market. They got them swimming around in tanks. They're not very attractive, but I mean, they're not indigenous to my home. I don't know whether they made them in a lab. I don't know if they're genetically altered. I don't know what tilapia are. I see them in the tank. I still don't trust them. I don't trust tilapia because they want to feed it to us all the time.
Tilapia is made in the lab.
Well, yeah, Yolanda, the rabbits are eating in your garden. Well, my daughter's dog has a thing for strawberries. She already had a couple strawberries popping up in her garden, and her little dog decided he had a daggone appetite, went into the daggone greenhouse and helped himself to some strawberries. So, you know, so even the dogs can be a problem for your garden. If they know what's good. A catfish scavenger on the ocean floor. Yeah, yeah, it's catfish. Catfish are, yeah, they're pond scavengers, and then they say farm raised, but they still are in the farm eating at the. I don't, and then Lord knows how dirty is a tank that you raising them in. I don't trust that.
And I think
I
we
don't
have
know.
I think we have to eat more from the vine. I think that's a habit that we've lost. We don't eat from the vines and the trees no more. And we eat too much.
The Accomack were known for making walnut milk.
I could go for some walnut milk right now.
Doesn't that sound good? Doesn't that sound great for you? And
Yeah.
like if you start looking back and like buying old books, I make a very big effort of buying old books to find out who came here. I just actually acquired a book of John Cabot, and if many of you are aware, John Cabot was the first person that really came to the eastern coast of America, whereas Columbus did not make it here, right? John Cabot. So I wanted to have the oldest work I could find related to his travels. He went from New England down to Virginia, North Carolina, not really, that kind of area. And so I wanted to find, I look for these old books so that I can actually get an idea of what they saw, what we were eating, the things that they saw that we had, that we partook of when they arrived here. But that's very important to kind of get back to those things that we used to do, the things we used to eat, the things we used to farm, the things we used to consume. Let's get back to that. Walnut is a wonderful nut. It's a wonderful nut, beneficial in so many ways.
And remember its cousin, black walnut.
That's
No, no,
right. It's
black
wonderful.
walnut
Right.
is off the hook.
Right.
So there's things right here on the land that your grandparents grew, were farmers of, that you can eat once or twice a day and you'll be fit. Remember, they're
Hmm.
feeding us like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times a day.
Right.
They're feeding us all this garbage.
Exactly. That's exactly it. So we have to start doing things to my numbers are off. I don't have my numbers numbered. Whatever, you know what I mean, y'all. Okay, so anyway, but that's the whole point of it. We need to also just unite. We have to unite, and in our people, as a people, through genealogy, to actually claim our inheritance in our land, and we have to use various mechanisms to do that. Okay, we have to really do our research, look in our genealogy, and also, we got to start connecting to our cousins and kin and start family surname pages and look for family surname pages because a lot of these people are already on Facebook that are your kin, your cousins. They got pages to organize their family reunions. Access those pages, join those pages, inform those pages, let them know, share indigenous information to those family members or kin or acquaintances because a lot of the people aren't going to be your actual cousins. They're going to be just kin, people who are of the same people, who come from the same area, who share the same genealogy, but may not be blood connected to you, right? That's how we're able to marry each other. Everybody ain't going to be blood connected, but they'll be kin related and they'll be of the same nation. So look for those and unite with those because a lot of people are looking for land and looking to organize with Indians, but they're not including the people. I hate this. Let me say it again. I hate it because it's the same thing as the Native Americans claiming to be us. It's the same thing. If you go and claim your land or inheritance and make no effort to connect to the people who aren't your cousins, who you don't know, but who share that lineage, that connection, you're wrong. You are dead wrong. There are people who have organized themselves as Indians, live in daggone New England, and are and claiming to be Virginia Indians, but have not reached out to anybody who are full-blooded, still living in the land area, on the land that tribe existed in back in the whatever, since the beginning of time. They have not reached out to these people or organized these people. That is wrong. It is wicked and wrong. And a lot of y'all are admiring people that do this. You just don't know it. Because, like I said, you're not qualifying and you're not investigating. But people are doing this. It's not honorable. It is wrong. It is evil. Reach out to your kin. Reach out to those you don't know. Reach out to those who don't know. I used social media for that. A lot of people think that I came on to like YouTube or did a freaking they were mad because I was organizing a summit and they thought, who the heck is she? Who is she? Who is she? But what they didn't know and what they may not still know is my only reason for organizing a summit and doing an Indigenous People Summit in Virginia was because of my people. I was trying to organize and rally my people and educate them. It wasn't because I wanted to have clout or I wanted to be a social media presence or a YouTube daggone freaking whatever star. I did a YouTube. I may have done 2 YouTubes on my YouTube channel, and that's it. I did the cartoons because I wanted to have that there available for the babies, and I wanted our story to be out. Everything I do is to promote and to protect the Accomack Indians. It ain't about nothing else. And to generally just help people on their way to doing the same. That's it. I make no money. I spend tens of thousands of dollars a year on this effort. Even if I charge people to come, I lose tons of money just because of the stuff I buy, the daggone artifacts, the books that I have available for you to see, the daggone placards and posters and tents and whatever I'm doing. I'm spending way more money. I ain't making nothing. It's like you made $149, but you spent like 10,000 or 12,000. It's like that. It's like having a wedding every year or whatever. It's crazy. But I do it because I wanted to provide a mechanism, because when you teach your family, a lot of times they don't. I mean, look, they remember when you was playing hide and seek and you were scared of the boogeyman. They know you. Your family knows you. When you're talking to your cousins, they know you and they know every, and they also think, well, she was a bit of a knucklehead, they know you. So it's hard for them to take new information from you, especially those that are educated anyway, that, or whether they're not educated, whatever they are, it's hard for them to take new information from you. It's harder. So a lot of times it's better coming from someone else, which was the impotence for me to start an Indigenous Summit in Virginia. A mechanism of gathering my family and gathering people who are Indigenous minded to come together, because I was astounded that nobody had done it. I was like, all these people have been talking on the internet all this time and nobody's gotten the people together. These people haven't met. And then certain people got angry and mad at me for doing it. But I wasn't doing it because I was trying to one up them. I wasn't doing it because I wanted to be importante. I was doing it because I need to make a I need to educate the Accomax, and not only that, I need to make a protection where we are known. The knowingness of the Accomack Indians that I worked to generate is a protection for us, because you can't just say you don't know, because people know. And as I'm, especially now that I'm in this lawsuit, it's very important that people know about what we do and who we are.
You
They
have a
they can't they
you
can't hide it, huh? Go ahead.
you have a somebody wants to know what's the channel of the with the children's cartoons.
It's hard to find because YouTube has buried it, but it's called Indigenous. It's just very simply called Indigenous Cartoons. But if you put in Accomack Indigenous Cartoons, you might be able to find it. Indigenous Cartoons. Let's see what comes up. Yeah, I think it comes up. No, well, yeah, it does. It comes up. If you say Accomack Indigenous Cartoons, it will come up. And there's about 8 of them. And it kind of tells the history of, not only does it tell the history of the Accomacs, but the history of Virginia, because you can't tell our history without telling Virginia, and not only tell the Virginia history, it tells all the indigenous people's history, because a lot of what happened with the first contact folk, right? So that's it. But in doing that, so this is the thing. So as you organize your people, and that's why people think, oh, you're wrong, and this person's trying to find their land, let them go for it. Like, okay, it's not just your land. If you did it in a way where you actually search for your people and your presence and your nation, then when you find the land, like for instance, if us fighting for land now, it's all Accomack land. Nobody can claim Lisa's just being that, because Lisa has reached out to her folk. So my lawsuit, I'm an Accomack Indian. So I'm suing as Lisa Cypress, but I'm an Accomack Indian. And it's my duty to reach out and to share with the Accomacs. That's the way it should be, right? You want to make sure you benefit the most. We share. We share. We want to help each other. We want to lift each other up. That should be the energy. That should be how we roll. These other people, man, I have no, I just don't, I can't with what these other people are doing. I can't. So history, we need. Also, the other day we talked about history and the fact that there's terrorism in a lot of our families. There's lynchings. As a matter of fact, that picture, when you go and click that picture talks about the town that was destroyed, I guess in Georgia. It talks about Lake Lanier. So there's terrorism and lynchings and lost towns, burnt records. Do you know that most of the court records, and like all the border states, all the southern border states, it's about half counties that have, you know, destroyed courthouses, or so they say the records are destroyed, but not maybe. Also, understand under the rights of FBI information, you might want to research what kind of stuff they have about where you come from and your people, because there are a lot of classified things with the FBI that might be useful to you and your search for what belongs to you and what has been taken from you. FBI, there's information. You fill out a form and you can get to this information that has been classified. Okay.
And check out this land, because they have golf courses, all kind of things they have put on, and this is where many of your people spring from.
Also, look at the preservation, conservation, preservation organizations. The Preservation Conservancy. This organization owns indigenous land all over the world. Okay, and they that's how they snatch it up. Under the guise of preservation, they steal land. They steal land. What they do is they want to hold it long enough until we die off. And then they can do what they want for it. But these conservation organizations are major land thefts. That's going to have to be a world court lawsuit that we're going to have to file, because these conservation, preservation, worldwide indigenous theft of land, that needs to be addressed. Tennessee. Yeah, there's a lot of information in Nation Beyond this. Nation Beyond the Five. The Nation Beyond it's hard to find. What do you mean the Nation Beyond the Five Civilized Tribes? The five civilized tribes are they don't have any information. First of all, most of these five civilized tribes don't even have any land patents. Your real people have a lot of information. You just got to look for it. It's there. It's not hard to find. It's hiding in plain sight. You ain't going to find, Benny, what you're not looking for. I mean, how is it hard to find when a lot of these records are within laws, within court records, within land grants and patents, and now patents and land grants are on Ancestry. You just have to know what you're looking at. Your people are not going to, you have to understand a lot of these patents originate from Indian territory. That's how we got it as Indians. Just because it doesn't spell it out to you, you have to understand how to read between the lines.
And that's why it's important to connect with your family, because they don't think, your people then don't think how we think now.
Right.
The average Negro doesn't think at all. Those people back there were trying to keep their lands and their family intact, and they took precautions on that. What would they have done? You should think about that and know that. And this is why, as we say, when you get into all these fictional groups, all these fictional ideologies, you cut yourself off at the knees from your family.
You have to understand that we don't all, Benny, is not an Indian name with the patents necessarily. My lawsuit involves people with the names Ibby Baker, William Baker. What you think are not our names are our names. It's like Anthony Johnson is an indigenous name, and they try to say he's from Africa or he's from Europe. He's an Accomack Indian. He's from Northampton County. He's an Accomack Indian. Most of the people that have patents, they don't have Indian names.
What are
what you would consider an Indian name? Johnson is an Indian name. My last name is an indigenous name, is an Indian name, Cypress. When you look up my Cypress, my name Cypress under you can just y'all like to see things. Let's see. Let me just show you real quick, since y'all I like to show and prove, and y'all like to see things. So let's do it. Why not? Okay. Let's go to Free AfricanAmericans.com, right? Y'all been on this? You better have. If you haven't, you've done no genealogy whatsoever. Okay, so Free African Americans of Virginia. Y'all see that? I'm going to Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, click, right? I am going to go to this. Chambers, Charity, no, Chavis. I think I gotta go a little further because we have Cousins in Davenport. See that name, Cypress? All right, then you gotta go find Cypress. See why. Oh, is that you? Kumbo. I think I passed him. Where is it? Y'all see it? No. That's them. That's them. What's Kumbo still? Cuffy. Cuff. Oh, I'm not, don't know my alphabet. Y'all need to help me. Lord Jesus. Okay. Oh, yeah. C-U, Castillo, Dale. There we are. William Cypress. Okay. So if you look at this, this is a rare thing. You're not going to see this. It just happens to be with my Cypress family. But understand me, my lawsuit is not for Cypress because the Indians that have the land patents are the dark-skinned people that do not have the Cypress name. It's the other side of family. This is my dad's side of family. My mom's side of family, they're the people that have all the land patents, and they are dark-skinned Indians, okay? So you never know where you're going to find your Indians. This is the Cypress family, okay? Judith Cypress. Did they change it? Indian. Described as an Indian. When her children, Tom and Frank, were bound apprentices by the stewardess of Surry County, okay? Thomas Cypress was bound apprentice. So, you know, you're not going to necessarily find somebody who was described as Indian. This is a rare thing. This is a rare thing. But you will find people that are described as existing in the 17 and 1600s that are colored Negro, but these people are free and these people are apprenticing their children. That does not, what does that mean? You don't come here from Africa and just go around being free and stuff. That's not realistic. Let's look at some other families. Some of these people have some other names like Portuguese names, and some of these are indigenous names. You just don't know. Costello is very much an indigenous name. Okay, let's look at that one. Okay. Members of the Costello family. Reuben, born in Hanover, a free man, about 32. A highlight black color, Henrico County. When was he born? Born in 1776. So some of my people, they were born before that. The boys were born in 1776, but they're free Negroes. Why are they free? It said Costello purchased an acre of land, went to the mill. Woman counted. She was 90-year-old black woman counted in the 1870 census. So these are records from court. These are citations from court records. And so most of these things involve either people making agreements or people selling land or people in some kind of like dispute or something like that. So that's the thing. We have to be mindful that, when we look for these things, it's not going to be necessarily obvious of who is the Indian. What's going to be obvious is that they're free in 1715. He was indicted, Jonathan Curtis, some of the Accomax are Curtises, for selling liquor without a license. 1715. He making money. We getting in trouble for what we knew how to do best. Sell liquor. That's how they got us with that prohibition, because we always was making liquor. We made the best moonshine. We were the main brewers. And we've gotten away from that. Oh, y'all, that's another thing. Y'all need to, I have a distillery. I have not busted that box open either. I have a distillery. I have the beehive. We need to make sure that we can make liquor, because let me tell you something. If you didn't learn anything, that during COVID, they allowed people to get alcohol if they didn't allow anything. They allowed home delivery. You could drive through. Yes. So, I mean, distilling, be able to distill has very good benefits for more than one reason, making medication, alchemy, also alcohol. So just letting you know. Wine, exactly. We made all kinds of wine on the Eastern Shore. My father made wine, my auntie made wine. Everybody was wine makers, and we used very interesting things to make wine, things that a lot of people may not have used. Um, yeah. So anyway, looking at that, that's one thing. So like I said, we need to make. Okay. Oh, here it is. Here's one. Hold on. Shoot, I lost it. Indicted. Okay, let me go down. So something about a patent. I just saw something that says somebody's patent. Worded mulatto. Prentice carpenter. Breaking open of a storehouse. Mary Stevens. Bruxton's. Patent. Okay, here's one. Curtis right here says Richard Curtis received a patent for 150 acres in Oslo County, North Carolina. And it even tells you about a citation for the land patent. This information is all out there for you all to obtain. This is all out there for you to obtain. You have to understand that. Wine is medicinal and so is alcohol. See, tobacco. People have these abstinence rules, right? But there are certain people who can't take anything. Certain people can't are allergic. They can't handle a drop of alcohol, or they go crazy. They have addiction issues. They can't take a drop of they can't take anything. They can't smoke any. If they do anything, they're going to go in access. If this is the thing. Moderation in all things, but you have to understand there are benefits for the things that we make of the earth. And if you're making these things of the earth as our ancestors have made them, then these things can be beneficial, curative, and quite medicinal and beneficial. So, and also spiritual, because Noble Drew Ali was just using a mechanism to free his people. I'm not going to have a daggone more discussion, but Noble Drew Ali was using a mechanism to free the Negro from oppression when we lost our ability to call ourselves Indians. That's all he was doing. The fact that you're still riding that jock after over 100 years, he would think it's absurd. Okay, he would think it's ridiculous, because now you have the ability to actually find out who you really are and claim yourself as you really are, and organize yourself as you really are. Why are you still doing the same old thing that no longer works? And let's talk about what works. Let's just get to that. Let's get to that. That's just okay. No, that's not it. It's my birth and nation still. Okay. All right. So let's get to that. What works? Okay. So we talked about that. I just showed you a grant that was just on that list of free African Americans of color. There's information about your history, your land all over the place. There's no excuse for people not to do it. You have 4 grandparents. You have 8 great grandparents, 16 great, and so on and so on. There's so many people you're connected to. You are connected to all these benefits, lands, and rights. You just got to be looking. Find your Indian identity, organize yourself as a corporation, a 503(c), and a trust. Change your neighborhoods and stores, and change your neighborhoods and stores. Also, as you do that, you'll have your affidavit. Okay, let me tell you something about this. Once you organize yourselves as a nation, there's nothing more powerful. The Moorish people are the people that came here. First of all, you don't know if you're a Moor unless you do your genealogy and find out you are from Morocco. The Moroccos came in here and they came on ships to help to undermine the Indian and take the Indians' land. The reason why they were paid off by known racists, George Washington, $80,000 the Moroccans were given for acknowledging the independence of the United States was because they are traitors of the Indian. You cannot be both a Moor, claiming both Moor allegiance and claim to be an allegiance to your Indian, because they are not friends. The Moors are instrumental in the destruction of the Indian and the taking of our land. Point blank, period. That's what the Moors are. No, America is not Morocco. That's moronic to think that. America is not Morocco. Historically, how do you marry that in any way? How do you make that make sense that America is Morocco? Y'all think everything with an M. And first of all, if you believe Noble Drew Ali, he never said that. He never wrote it. He never said it. So this whole America is Morocco is something that a bunch of you charlatans just cooked up in the last 2 years. Because you see that the indigenous awareness is catching and people are having an understanding.
And one more thing about that Moor thing.
That's okay, Sean. I'm glad you're still learning. Please learn. That is not at all not a possible thing, because let's understand. That's what I wanted to talk about. That's what we'll talk about on Friday. Well, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. I might have to do a couple of other things, but basically, we got to have an understanding that this country started not as a British colony, but as an invasion of all of Europe. All these Europeans invaded this continent and took it over. That's why we are continuously onslaughted by immigrants, because it's an immigrant corporation. The Moors were very, very instrumental. They gave all these other Europeans maps to our daggone gold and to our daggone property. The Moors are the biggest traitors to the indigenous people here. And they continue to be here, undermining us getting our place in this land back. They continuously undermine it.
So what gets me, and I know people have to learn, but you got to learn. You got to think. Can the Moors go to Morocco and talk the shit they talk in Morocco over here? No. And you got to know things like that, because you got to know this stuff. Listen to what these cats are telling you. Just ask them about it. You'll see they won't have an answer. All they talk is dumb shit. And the problem is, we believe it. None of it makes no sense. Morocco is America. Who came up with that?
We have a lot of people that are trying to undermine us all the time. Everybody's trying to come in, act like they're your friend, act like they're indigenous, act like they're part of the plan, because they're all immigrants and they all stand to lose if we get our understanding of who we are. So they all conspire together. They all unite against us. That's why it's important that we unite with our families, with our kin, with our people, as our nations. We need to also take a hold of our neighborhoods, our stores, making them accountable, make them stop selling the things that are toxic to our people. Change the schools, change the neighborhoods, take over. We can start our own schools. There's money out there for charter schools that we're not using. Immigrants are using them, but we aren't. We aren't. We need to start using the tools that are right there in front of us. We have the ability to start our own schools. They got people coming from all kinds of different countries, Turkish people, Ukrainian people, just starting schools. Can't even speak English. And our kids are going to them. The other thing is we need to vocalize our identity, let people know who you are, educate everyone. I don't care if you're riding in an Uber, educate the Uber. I'm an American Indian. I'm an whatever. You are at the very least an American Indian if you know your genealogy. If you know that to be true, then you need to be educating people. If you know what Indian you are, you need to be educating people. I educate people at any turn because the more they know, we have to draw the line in the sand because they're trying to erase us off the planet. So we have to make sure that they know we're still here and we know what the game is. We really need to verbalize it because this is a lot of, like people said, spell casting and a lot of offenses and a lot of war is being waged against us. So we have to make sure that we stand on our position and make sure we know we are not ashamed to state our position on current events and politics because they're trying to act like that they can shove any agenda in our faces, and they cannot. Don't be a spectator. Make a difference. But let me show you. This is a thing that somebody was talking about. There's an article about hair. Where's that thing? There's this article about some person. That's not it. All right, let's find it. Is that it? Yeah, that's probably no. Yeah, here it is. All right. So this article is about it made me feel low. Black students urge the passage of Crown Act to end hair discrimination. Y'all, we got an issue with hair discrimination in 2022. Gay agendas are pushed in our faces. This pangenderism is pushed in our face. This pansexualized stuff is pushed in our face. But we can't wear our hair. Do you see what's posted over here? So I've been making several comments. And I said, and I don't think this one is still been posted. This guy, Stephen Hawkins, so-called, said it would be interesting to see how far they would go with hairstyles because the number is unlimited. It's like some 5-foot extensions with ankle wraps. Really? Really, you saying that? I said, why do you care? Who made you judge and jury of indigenous American culture? Eddie Spaghetti said, how do you think PONC? What is that, y'all? I don't know what PONC is. Feel when POC, what's a POC? Consistently attack them for what their ancestors did generations ago. That's what Eddie Spaghetti said. Eddie Spaghetti said that. You see, we need to be speaking about this stuff. We need to be, because what else, are you doing? Anyway, I said, what is a PONC? If it is a U.S. Caucasian immigrant Europeans, then you are still continuing the legacy of your ancestors by being born from the result of their deeds. Even if the deed is as simple as invading a land that is not your homeland to provide a better life for yourselves while pushing the indigenous Negro Indians of the land aside. It's that simple.
You see, one of the things why these people think they can talk like that is because don't think they don't be trolling pages like this. Don't think they not paying attention what everybody watches and keep an eye on what everybody watches because they know what to put out and what to say. So like these people that Lisa are talking about, they'll come in this group and see America means North Africa. And you know what they'll say? They'll say, where these dummies come from? We get caught up on shit like that. Simple shit. Egypt is in the Grand Canyon. For real, dude. Gladys Knight told you to beware of what you see. Don't believe nothing you hear. And anytime somebody come up with a dumb story, we don't even think about it. We just run with it. Teach it to our kids and make sure everybody around us is dumb. You got a guy here talking about he's a Moroccan. He's a Moor, El God, but he said he's from the Kusa Nation. Now everybody's confused. This is normal behavior of what Negroes do. Study your family. Do a history search on yourself. Damn. The simplest thing you can do. Don't do it on no groups, Christians, uh, Muslims, none of that. Do a history lesson on yourself. I guarantee you, you won't look at yourself the same way you do now, because that's our problem. We won't even look after ourselves. I'm not saying everybody does it, because some people, like you're witnessing right now, this is just showing you how to do it. We can't say everything that comes out of people's mouth. We just try to suck their tongue dry. Think about what these people are telling you. It makes no sense. And then when you're asked about it, you won't have that dumb look on your face like, I don't know. Pay attention to what these people are saying to you. Because, like she said, these people trying to come over here and take your shit. And they're getting it because you're giving it to them up on a silver platter, because you don't know what the hell you talking about. You keep bringing in these Moors. They're not even relevant on the planet no more. They're not relevant here, are they? No. Are they relevant in Morocco? Well, why don't you ask the Moroccans? They'll laugh at you. What's happening with the Negroes going over to Israel? How's that panning out? What's happening to the Negroes going over to Ethiopia? How is that panning out? Come on, y'all. You're making us look bad. It's embarrassing. And you keep talking, and when you ask questions to clear up what you say, to bring some understanding of what you're saying, you never have nothing to say. In that case, shut up. Do a history lesson on yourself. Nobody else. Don't do it on Bill Cosby. Don't do it on W.E. Du Bois, Martin Luther. Don't do it on nobody. Do a history lesson on yourself, and let's clear up all the conflict. You were saying, Lisa?
I was saying that this is the thing. People, sister was talking about the Moorish stuff. Let me tell you something, sister. A lot of these things, a lot of those things, they work from. The reality is, the only way you're free from this slave system is by being the indigenous people that you are. Whether you form a, when you're an Indian, you're free. So they know it. Y'all just don't know it. But as I've organized ourselves as the Accomack Indians, I know for a fact that it's the freest thing because we put it in action. We put in action when one of our members got in trouble with the law and was charged with a felony crime. And I told her to drop her lawyer and be represented as a tribal member. And as soon as I had communicated with the district attorney. I wrote a letter. I told him that she's an Accomack Indian. She's not in your jurisdiction. That the law states, and I also use law, like I'm not a total idiot, that there's a law that gives her it's called it was called what is it? Something about her being a giving her grace for this this crime. She had no history. She was seeking care. So it's a safe haven law. It was a safe haven law that applied to her. And so I used actual law, but I also told them that we are Indians. Okay. And she's an Indian. And here's a proof that she's an Indian. She did her affidavit. And we sent all that in to the district attorney. She got scared and then called an attorney, gave the attorney money. I was said, oh, shoot. Well, I was a little nervous because it was my first time acting like an Indian and using our power as Indians and using our rights as Indians. So I wasn't sure, but I was going to do it. So she was going to let me do it, but then she got scared and I didn't blame her. So she called the attorney. I thought it would be all right because she gave the paperwork I gave to the district attorney to her attorney, and the attorney said, oh, yeah, it'll probably get dropped. A few months down the line, the attorney tells her she's going to have a record and she's going to have to pay restitution. I'm like, pay for what? She was only hurting herself. Why should she pay restitution to who? So I got mad and I said, we're going to the district attorney. So we ride up to the district attorney and I tell him she can't come in because she's a defendant. So I said, this is not right. You're criminalizing someone who is really a patient. This is not right. I've never seen this happen. And she's an Accomack Indian. She's not in your jurisdiction. He's like, I really wish I could talk to you, but you're not the attorney. She has filed. The attorney is representing her as this and such person. And I was like, thank you, fine. He wouldn't even look me in the eye. So I went out there to my truck and I said, fire your attorney. Call her now. She fired her attorney. And then she called me back like later and said, so Lisa, I told everybody you're going to be represented. I'm like, I'm not an attorney. Did you tell them I'm an attorney? I'm getting into a panic now because I'm not. You don't function as an attorney. You are a nation. You're a tribal leader. You're not a nation. You're not an attorney. I didn't want to portray myself falsely as that, and I don't know how she worded it. I got very nervous, so I constructed a letter and I made it very clear that the attorney would no longer be representing her, but her tribal leader. I would be representing her as her tribal leader, for she's under the jurisdiction and property of the Accomack Indians. I got that letter out and she was supposed to hand deliver it, but she faxed it. And I got very nervous. I said, you need to go ahead and hand deliver it. Go there the next day. And so she went there to hand deliver it. And the guy who was the policeman at the courthouse said, oh, I know that name. Your case has been dropped. She didn't have to pay restitution. She has no record. She had lost a job because of this whole situation. She has no record. She did not have to go to court. That's the power of being the true Indians that we are. But if we sit around and listen to these fake people all over the internet telling you bunches of stuff that you can't use, you won't be able to know that. You'll think that you need to be a Moor. You'll think you have to do some UCC stuff. When it really all you have to do is understand who you are and really do your genealogy and organize yourself under the Indians that you truly are. And that's why when in Mason, Tennessee, they want to take this town away from the indigenous people that live there. I communicated to them and I said, you need to organize yourselves as the Indians that you are. And they won't be able to do this stuff to you. And the vice mayor of Mason, Tennessee said, thank you. Thank you for giving me this information. It's very interesting. I didn't know this. Thank you for this information. I sent them the video that Carrie and I did about Mason, Tennessee being like the next Tulsa because they're trying to take away the wealth and the town away from the indigenous people.
And just like she's saying, they trying to take this land to build a car manufacturing place. And if we keep going by we're playing all these fictional characters, we help in our demise. And now there's a lot of people that be like, oh, they don't know, they poor. And that's not me. Because some of this shit y'all doing is past ridiculous. Egypt's in the Grand Canyon for real, cuz? You believe that? That's all that has to be put out, and we swallow that stuff. If Egypt's in the Grand Canyon, wouldn't they be in New Mexico? Wouldn't they be in Mexico, California? I mean, Egypt's not just one. I mean, this is the stuff. This is what our minds are convoluted with.
I mean, it's all fine that you want to talk about ancient aliens or ancient, great abilities, but what is that doing for your grandchildren or your children? What's that doing for you now? I mean, do we have time for myths, fables, and tales right now? How does that inform or protect your life right now? How do you gain from that right now? Sure, the people from America we were see, this is the thing. They want to say that it's aliens. Well, we are the powerful beings that did all the great things that traveled the globe. Who cares? Right now, we need to get to be those powerful beings again. And if we can't get up from under their manipulation, we won't be able to rise and regain our abilities and powers. We have to be able to be smart enough to do that. We have to let them know we are capable of doing that. We have to start fighting and showing our daggone capabilities. Not physically, but mentally. Because that's how they majorly disrespect us. They disrespect us mentally. That's why they think they're allowed to make all these snide, dumb remarks on all these posts. That's why they think they can get away with this. Oh, it would be interesting to see how far they could go. So are extensions natural? Let me tell you, and I said, is your haircut or shave natural? People don't naturally have their hair cut. People don't naturally have their face shaved necessarily. These are techniques for beautification and grooming. It's not different. Let's start looking at things with sense.
That's all we got to do.
Look at things with sense. Why are all these people thinking they have the right to talk about us in all these kind of ways? Why do they think that they have the right to do this? Why do they have the right to discriminate on us, which is our culture? But see, you know why? Because you don't claim yourself as nothing. Because you ain't nothing. You can't say, they can't sit up there as a mother and daughter and say, this is our culture. We're Catawba, we're this, we're freaking whatever. Kicha this, or I'm a whatever. They're not able to say who they are. But if they knew who they are, they could say, this is our culture. We're this Indians. And how dare you tell us to take off what is our culture tradition? You understand how you are leaving yourself open? You understand how they're able to slaughter us because we do not work to know who we are and actually organize ourselves under those specific people? You can't self-protect being a fake Indian. The reason that the law respected us when we stood up as Accomack Indians is because they know who we are. And it's real. It's known in the community, it's known in the history of that area. That's when you really can empower yourselves. Does that make sense to everybody?
The sister who says that America's North Africa wants to get in touch with you. And the reason I posted that, because maybe you can tell her something to get her out of that type of thinking. Because and see, and this how these people are able to infiltrate you. Well, Africa is next door neighbor to America. It's 5,000 miles away, but somehow you believe it.
Right.
This is how people infiltrate us, like she said, playing with your mind. And the Negro mind, seriously, the past 100 years, for real, cuz? Really? This is
Hmm.
where we are. You're more in a one sentence than you're Indian, and you sound dumb. And this is what these people be looking at and watching so they can throw it back up in your face later. Do a history lesson on yourself. Start with your kids, get them involved. Your grandkids, get them involved. And just go back and take a month and do it. And you look at yourself totally different at the end of that month than you do today. If you just do the little techniques Lisa just gave you tonight, that'll do it. But you can't go around saying stuff because people will pick that up and use it against you, especially if it's wrong.
Right.
Come on, y'all.
Right. We have the ability to win, but most of all, we have to start just like, like I said, don't let people tell you stuff just to tell you stuff. And also you have to qualify people. How are they telling you about land patents? What are they telling you about their own land patent? What are they telling you about what they're doing? What are they doing? Who are they really? You don't even know half these people's real names. But yet you sitting up there just like, oh yeah, this is good information. Yum yum yum. No, don't consume garbage, whether it's food or information. Don't consume garbage. Because a lot of people talk fancy and fast and they're not saying anything.
Talking loud and saying nothing.
Be discerning.
Be discerning. Well, Lisa, I really
That's it.
appreciate you. I really appreciate you coming on sharing those things with us because they're very important, especially for the children, because we're not going to be here long and we're going to leave our children behind. Don't leave them with this dumb shit that you think you know, because they'll be finished. Thank you guys for joining us tonight, and we'll see you probably tomorrow because there's a lot of information we got to have now. We can't keep going around here acting like we don't know stuff. We can't go around telling people, well, it was Egyptians here when the Indians was here, but they lived in Grand Canyon. And you haven't been to the Grand Canyon and saw it. Somebody told you that, and you just believe it. When people hear you talking like that, you know what they say to themselves? Let's get them. You think you're doing something good. You're not. You're telling people your people was here before my people. That's what you're doing. You sound very dumb doing it. And you walking all over your mama, daddy, grandmama, granddaddy's grave while you doing it. So let's not be dumb, please. So listen, I want to say thank you guys for joining us tonight. And listen, we'll see you. You'll get the message. Click that subscribe on YouTube because we got some more stuff coming for you guys. You guys have a good night. We'll see you soon. Peace.
Make comments. Make comments.
And let everybody know who you are. Stop
Mhm.
trying to be a foreigner because you're not. Well, most of you aren't. Yeah, some of you are. Yeah,
Some of you are. Some of you are.
right.
That's okay though, but just be who you are.
Yeah, because that's what the world needs more of. You.
Right.
That's what we're missing.
Right.
We'll see you next time. Peace.